Hello, everybody. This is Monstrositus X, and I'm coming back at you with another wild one. I'm talking about moist. That's right. I did a live stream last year around June, so it's almost a year, and June 19th, 2020, and I talked about moist. Um, you could say basically what happened with moist is something that I made up back in the '90s, right? We I didn't intend to. It was some kid walked up to us. We was doing our thing, hanging out on the corner, and this kid walked up to us talking about how he's gonna be all this, he's gonna be that when he grows up. Talking about he wants to get into the game. So of course we look at him like like a little knucklehead and say, "Yo, you better take your little silly ass to school and learn something. You out here with all this ignorant crap," right? So we back in the days, back in that era, we used to crack jokes on each other. We call that the dozens. And for me, my part, especially if I lost, if I felt that I lost, I would go home and do a little bit of homework, get some jokes stacked up, packed in my backpack, so that when I go out next time, I could just pull out and unload on somebody, right? So I did that with this kid. I went home and I was thinking about how silly he was, and the thought processes started running, and I was thinking how he's so young, he don't know nothing, he's immature, don't know the first thing about life or anything, and he's talking all of this idiot crap. So I'm thinking the boy is still holding on to his mother's apron strings, just born yesterday, he's still wet behind the ears, he's moist. And that's where that came from. The whole wet behind the ears part, And I laughed at it when I made it up. So when I went out next time, I hit somebody up with it, and they asked me what it was about, and I told them. And I didn't know that it had gotten around. I knew that guys in the neighborhood was using it, but I didn't know it got around. So last year, I saw our Aries Spears on this show. He got his behind kicked. I'm sure if you look up Aries Spears gets beat up on live stream, it'll pop up. Aries Spears beat down. You'll see it. It'll come up. But the guy who was running the show, the next episode that he came out with, he was talking about how dude comes on the stream and you moist, you should be keeping your mouth shut. So when he said moist, I kind of like, yo, I made that up, So I was that's when I came out with the live stream, and I was trying to revitalize something that I heard, come back up that I made up years ago, back in the '90s. So I hear Young Ripper saying it recently, so I'm back at it because I wanted to expand on it back then, but I just never got around to it. And this was like the best representation of something that I could use to explain what moistness is. The water and all of that helps, but to me, this is a great representation of what I believe moist is. Now, the shark is what we call strong. Everybody understands and recognizes the shark as being a powerful creature. And these pilot fish are basically like scavengers. They're around the shark to feed off of the leftovers that he don't eat. Any bits and pieces that when he starts biting into a fish, any stray pieces that break free and falls loose, these fish are going to get. And so they basically clean up behind him. So they're the weak, they're the moist. They're the ones, they depend on him. They're following him because they depend on him. They're depending on the strength of this shark to provide for them. And that's what moistness is in many ways. There's another thing too. This is also a weakness. And moistness. Watch this. Now this lamb, he's seen the lion. He just don't know. He's just uninformed about the dangers of the world. And that's what SJWs are. They have no clue of what life is about. They have no clue. They're uninformed. They've been sheltered. And this is what happens. You see? That's moist. That's moist. The sheltered individuals who don't really understand what life is about. They don't know the dangers. They don't know the pitfalls. They don't know the strength that it takes to actually make it in a real life situation. So they're so sheltered and used to being coddled and pampered and being given participation trophies and all of this nonsense that now real life is too hard for them. So they look at the strength of people and they say, no, you can't be strong. You can't be the patriarchy. It's too strong for us. The patriarchy, this, and toxic masculinity. So any strength that you show, any kind of shark ideologies that you show, you are toxic. You are a bad representation of a human. And I'm saying that we can't follow behind pilotfish. They are the weak. They only can scavenge. We need people who can build. We see this every day now with the movies that's coming out. The only good stuff is the older stuff that even in the music, it's all becoming weak, moisturized, it's all falling back, and we can't even enjoy these things the way we used to. Movies, TV shows, comic books. All of the cultural things are now falling to the weak. Society was supposed to lift the weak up. Society was supposed to be created, supposed to have been created in order to lift up the weak. But with this cancel culture and these moisturized individuals coming out of nowhere talking all of this idiocy on Twitter and online, and then these companies and the government using these people to gain power, because what these people do is cry about the strength of others, and then the government makes laws against the strength of others and try to force you into this weakness. And that means all people lose their rights because of the moisture of the weak people. It's just like the bounty paper towel challenge. You put moisture on. You put moisture on the paper towel, and then you see how strong it holds up. It can't. The dry towel is stronger every time. And that's what's happening to society. That's what's happening to our society. That's what's happening to America. France and China. Wasn't France one of those countries who contributed very little to the wars? But they're the ones who's standing strong and saying, we don't want any of this garbage going on in our society. The commie countries who are out there, like China, who's over here limiting people's rights and putting people into concentration camps and all of this stuff, they are saying we don't want this moisture over here in our society. So why are the Americans, supposed to be the strongest society on the planet, putting up with this moisture? So I'm saying, people, let's not be pilot fish. Let's be sharks. See, we see SJWs attack the comic book industry, and that was this is the thing that most of the entertainment industries are focusing on now, the comic books. So we're seeing a lot of these comics today with these SJW comic book pros come in, and they're destroying the strength of what the sharks of the previous eras created. The Stan Lees, the Jack Kirbys, the Chris Claremonts, the John Burns, all of these guys, and the great people from the 90s, like the Jim Lees and all of them. All of these people are now being pushed aside for these moisturized people, these SJW pros who come in there pushing these moisturized ideologies, moisturized stories that won't sell, and we're following the weak. The weak will not get us anywhere. You need the strength. It's the strength of men who create. It's the strength of the shark that created society. It's the strength of the shark that created buildings and skyscrapers, airplanes, cars. Everything that the weak are now coming out. These feminists are coming out saying that they need to be a part of, that they need to have more of. They're destroying. Everything that they've touched is no longer as viable as it once was just a few years ago. So imagine where our society is going to be in 10 years. If we can't be sharks, we're going to let minnows and pilot fish run our society, or force us sharks into being guppies? Come on. We can't do that. Let's not do this. Let's not let the moist of our society make the strong sharks, the great whites of society, meek and meager. Let's not shut up. We're watching too many of our people, they're making laws against men now. We can't even talk now without getting laws made against us. So please, people, let's not let this weakness happen. Let's move forward and stay strong. Let's put away that oil of Olay, people. All right, now I'm out.